Welcome in, everyone. I hope you guys are doing well wherever you're watching from today. We are joined once again by our favorite sidekick, Dusty the dog. And today we're talking about rumors, allegations that Saudi Arabia secretly acquired nuclear weapons without most of the world knowing. This claim's been going viral all over the place. We're going to break down whether or not it's true. Dusty's very excited for it. But before we do, please make sure to like and subscribe. Comment with your thoughts below. Hit the bell so you always know when a new video is coming. Now, let's get into it. So the claim that Saudi Arabia secretly acquired nuclear weapons has been going viral the past few days for a couple different reasons. We're going to break down kind of what stems or where this viral rumor or allegation stems from. We're going to break down the evidence that would suggest this is either true or not true, and we're going to talk about why this is really important in the grand scheme of things. First, this discussion comes amid a diplomatic solution being pursued by the Trump administration with Iran over their nuclear program in hopes that the United States won't have to take military action to knock out their facilities and stop them from ever getting a bomb. Right now, Iran can enrich uranium at a very high level, but they've never gone to weapons grade. It's believed they absolutely have the capacity to go to weapons grade, but choose not to, and they kind of use it as a bargaining chip. Some people argue, well, if they get the bomb, it's game over for the Middle East. There are serious downsides. If they do get a nuke, no question about it, you would see a huge arms race in the Middle East, and you would likely see military action without a doubt. But what if Saudi Arabia, a major rival of Iran, also already had the bomb? It's important to note there have long been whispers that Saudi Arabia either secretly obtained a nuke or would immediately get a nuke in the event Iran did. These whispers hit a fever pitch and had gasoline poured on them, and I'll throw this up here on the screen for y'all, when Marjorie Taylor Greene, the congresswoman from Georgia, who does sit on the subcommittee for intelligence and terrorism, that's a subcommittee that would have information to a lot of classified information. She hopped on X recently and threw this up. Let's throw it up on the screen for you here, declaring that Saudi Arabia has nuclear weapons. Now, this has never been confirmed by the U.S. government. It's never been confirmed by the Saudis. It's never been made crystal clear whether or not that's actually true. It's also not the first time these discussions have actually happened. Tucker Carlson, in one of his recent podcasts, talked about another country having nukes in the region and saying it was not Israel that he was referring to. So take that, kind of package all this information together and look at the pieces. So that's really what sparked this resurgence in interest of whether or not the Saudis had secretly obtained nuclear weapons, which would add them to the list of countries that already have them, such as the United States, China, Russia, England, France, India, Pakistan, and Israel. I know Israel likes to pretend they don't, or they do the whole strategic ambiguity. Israel has nukes. We all know it. We can all talk about it. It's not that big of a deal at this point. They've had them for decades and decades. So let's now take a look at some of the actual relevant background information, kind of in timeline order, so we can get an idea of whether or not the claim that Saudi Arabia has nuclear weapons is real. Let's roll into that right now. So a lot of the speculation that Saudi Arabia might have secretly obtained nuclear weapons without the world knowing, or certainly the public knowing, stems from the idea that Saudi Arabia has invested in Pakistan's nuclear program and essentially could buy the bomb from Pakistan in return for money. So there's a couple pieces of evidence that we're going to look at here, including whether or not that's true, delivery systems that Saudi Arabia has that in theory could deliver a nuclear warhead, and then what the own Saudi's government stance on nuclear weapons is, and then we're going to kind of parse all that out and wrap it up. So this comes from Wikipedia. I'll throw this up on the screen here. It's kind of an in-depth thing. This is 12 years ago. This says, in November of 2013, a variety of sources told BBC Newsnight that Saudi Arabia had invested in Pakistani nuclear weapons projects and believes it could obtain nuclear bombs at will. Earlier in the year, a senior NATO decision maker told Mark Urban, a senior diplomatic and defense editor, that he had seen intelligence reporting that nuclear weapons made in Pakistan on behalf of Saudi Arabia are now sitting ready for delivery. In October 2013, Amos Yalden, sorry if I got that wrong, A former head of Israeli military intelligence told a conference in Sweden that if Iran got the bomb, the Saudis will not wait 1 month. They already paid for the bomb. They will go to Pakistan and bring what they need to bring. Since 2009, when King Abdullah of Saudi Arabia warned visiting U.S. Special Envoy to the Middle East, Dennis Ross, that if Iran crossed the threshold, we will get nuclear weapons. The kingdom has sent the Americans numerous signals of its intentions. Gary Samore, who until March 2013 was President Barack Obama's counter-proliferation advisor, told BBC Newsnight, "I do think that the Saudis believe that they have some understanding with Pakistan that in extremis, they would have claimed to acquire nuclear weapons from Pakistan." So what that is arguing is that for over a decade now, Saudi Arabia poured money into Pakistan's weapons program and either bought the bomb or would be able to have nukes delivered to them if they wanted them. That has never been confirmed by the Saudi government, but what we have here is the Crown Prince. I'll throw this up on the screen for you all as well. This is the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and this is an interview, I believe, with 60 Minutes. O'Donnell, does Saudi Arabia need nuclear weapons to counter Iran? Mohammed bin Salman, who is now the most powerful man in Saudi Arabia, even if he's not officially the head of the government, he's in line waiting, but he's running the show. Saudi Arabia does not want to acquire any nuclear bomb, but without a doubt, if Iran developed a nuclear bomb, we will follow suit as soon as possible. So that's the evidence that's laid out for the belief that Saudi Arabia has gotten the bomb from Pakistan. It's really been sitting there in front of people forever, at least the breadcrumbs of information. But nuclear weapons don't really matter if you don't have a way to deliver them. So does Saudi Arabia have a way to deliver a nuclear warhead if they indeed secretly obtained it? Let's get into that right now. To answer the question about whether or not Saudi Arabia has the weapons and the systems and capabilities to deliver a nuclear strike if they had the warheads, the answer to that question is actually shockingly simple. The answer is yes, they do. And I'm going to put this up here on the screen for you. It says, according to the BBC, Saudi Arabian attempts to acquire ballistic missiles capable of fielding a nuclear warhead go back several decades. The Royal Saudi Strategic Missile Force possesses the DF-3A as a Chinese missile which is used in nuclear weapons delivery. It is regarded as a Chinese liquid-fuel, single-stage nuclear medium-range ballistic missile. Saudi Arabia bought several dozen, between 36 and 60, of this kind of missile from China in 1987. Riyadh displayed them in a parade in 2014, the first public viewing of the weapon. So there's your answer. They 100% have missiles, dozens of them apparently, that are capable of delivering a nuclear strike if necessary. And notice there, they first put them on display in 2014 after the 2013 revelations that they apparently were under the belief that they could buy the bomb from Pakistan or had already secretly done so. Now, does this mean Saudi Arabia possesses nuclear weapons? Let's discuss that. The simple answer to that is there is no concrete evidence that I can sit here and tell you with complete certainty that Saudi Arabia currently has nukes in its arsenal. It's interesting that a congresswoman, on the subcommittee for intelligence and counterterrorism is openly telling the world that the Saudis do indeed have nukes. There's evidence out there to suggest that's not a crazy belief. There is evidence in intelligence assessments, which we went over earlier in the video, that indicate that Saudi Arabia's relationship with Pakistan for its nuke program is very close and includes Saudi money being poured into it. Now, you got to ask yourself, why would Saudi Arabia be funding a weapons program in a different country for nukes? Why would they be doing that? Well, the answer is, like any business transaction, they think they're going to get something out of it. And it's much easier for them to go buy nukes from Pakistan than it would be to start their own program, which would then come under extreme scrutiny, like with what we're seeing with Iran. Iran and Saudi Arabia are huge enemies. They're both major oil-producing countries, and they absolutely hate each other. And in the event the U.S. launches an attack on Iran, Saudi oil fields are going to be on the top of the list for where Iran might retaliate. In order to make sure that doesn't happen, Iran might not do it if they thought Saudi Arabia obviously had nukes that it could then fire back at them. You know, if you asked me to put it on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident am I that Saudi Arabia has secretly obtained nukes or can get them quickly? Well, those are two different questions. If you ask me whether or not they already have them, I would put my confidence somewhere maybe a 3.5. That's what the evidence we've looked over tells me. They bought the weapon systems to get them. They funded Pakistan's nuclear program, which would seem to indicate that maybe they did get their hands on them. But if you ask me to tell you how confident I am that they could get them on short notice within a couple days, few days from Pakistan, that number is a 10. There's no question that if Saudi Arabia wants nukes, they're going to go shopping in Pakistan and they're going to get those bombs immediately. And that's if they don't already have them. That's if they haven't already secretly done that. And now we're seeing public officials, specifically Marjorie Taylor Greene, come out on her platform and say, yes, Saudis have nukes. That's where the evidence sits. It clearly is more, I want to be careful how I word this, there's more evidence to suggest that Saudi Arabia has made a play to get a nuke than there isn't. Whether it's already in their possession, I can't tell you. Probably nobody outside the Saudi government and the CIA and the President of the United States could know for sure. And obviously, who's ever sitting at the top of Pakistan. But the Saudis want to survive. They want to maintain their power in the region. And as we see with Iran, and as we've seen with Israel, getting nukes is a great way to do that. That's just the fact of the matter. The nuclear device is an insurance policy unlike anything we've ever seen in the world. But let me know in the comments, do you think Saudi Arabia secretly obtained nukes? Make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, I'll catch you all next time.